I think I'm ready. Are you guys ready? Are you ready for the tavern to open up? We're going to open up the doors now, and we're going to get started on this live stream. It's Friday. It's the time to get out your nutmeg and scrape a little bit, not too much, into your drink. You don't want to overwhelm with nutmeg. Welcome into the Nutmeg Tavern. We are live, and we're going to be talking about fun 18th century stuff today. The kind of 18th century stuff that we should all care about. Not who won what battle or what political document was created when, but what were their daily lives like? That's what we kind of concentrate on and have fun with. Because it turns out that each and every one of us is just a regular old person, and our lives are not full of Lamborghinis or whatever, right? At least mine isn't.
Really nice carriages with the best horses.
Exactly. I was trying to come up with the 18th century equivalent, but there isn't one. A phaeton.
Yes.
And today we're talking about the day-to-day medicine that people use that when they don't go to the doctor, over the counter, as it were, or sometimes called in the 18th century a patent medicine. And we'll talk about that term. But the common kind of medicine that people were using all the time, not necessarily the kind that you would buy. There are home remedies, and they were certainly using lots of home remedies. But let's talk about those kinds of medicines where you go to the store and you get a bottle of, and you use that for your medicine of the day. And a lot of people relied on that. And a lot of stores were selling that. It was a popular commercial kind of product, not just in Great Britain, but in North America as well. Now, North America, the idea of patent medicines seems to show up at least in advertisements and whatnot, probably around the 1730s. Undoubtedly, it's here before that, but they're really not talking about it a lot. You don't see advertisements, but then again, we don't have a lot of newspapers and things to work with from that time period. So trying to find out what's happening in the first, say, 150 years of colonial life is not easy to do, just because there isn't a whole lot of documentation to work with. But we know that these patent medicines were very popular in Great Britain, and we start to see them being advertised in the early part of the 18th century. They get much more popular as we go from, say, 1750 onward. We start to see those kinds of advertisements and talking about them in North America a great deal more. And some interesting things happen when we get to the revolution with patent medicines, but I think we'll get to that a little bit later. So I'm not sure if we should sort of jump into some of the pictures just to get some of the names and the concepts.
Yeah, I think at least the first 3 to 6 slides will probably help lay the groundwork.
Right. So let's jump in and kind of look at some of them, and then we can talk about the characteristics of them and the sales methods maybe. And talk about that. So let's jump into this right away. And ooh, that's a little. How am I supposed to read that? This is the Gentleman's Magazine from. Do we know about what year?
I think that this is 1740 to 1750, somewhere in there.
Right. And we have medicines, and here's like medicines in the first column. They're for what? Who are they made by? Where are they located? Basically, how much is there is kind of how the column goes, right?
Yes, right.
And so it's kind of like a spreadsheet.
I think it's plasters is at the beginning, and then like smelling bottles. We're moving all the way, and
right.
So snuffs. And then like spirits, and then over here on, now very importantly, over here on the right, there's one of the doctors you'll see is a Mr. Townsend.
Yeah.
There, and then we have the elixirs at the bottom on the bottom right hand corner.
Right. So different kinds of, and they were a little bit more creative, I guess, or interesting with the types of medicines. But I don't think we realize that some of our medicines are exactly the same kind of thing. We would make fun of these. It's like, that's nothing but a sucker, or that's a silly little thing. It's like, oh, we have the same kind of thing going on today.
Right?
We
In
put
fact,
medicines in different forms.
There were a couple different medicines that I was looking into, and they are still sold today.
Yeah.
Under the same names. In some I mean,
Right.
some of them have, you'll find them under different names as well, but they
Exactly.
still carry on.
Right. So down here in elixirs, we have an elixir for asthma by Mr. Townsend. He's got a couple of different locations, and it's sold in bottles. In fact, all the elixirs are sold in bottles. All the electuaries are sold in pots, interestingly. Some are sold in files or papers or, boxes that we see some of these other things. But elixirs, we have elixirs for asthma. What's that second one? I can hardly read it. Something razzleness. In fact, that was closer. I could maybe read it a little better. Deafness. There's a elixir for deafness. I could probably use that. Maybe one for eyesight right now. Fevers, gleets. You don't want to know. Yes, thank you very much. Hysteria, impotency. Mr. Rock has a bunch of things here. Then there's Dr. Nelson, Dr. Mortimer, Mr. Borhov. We've got some different medicines there. You can see most of these are the kind of medicines that you will go to a location and you will get them. You don't need a prescription, right? It's just like these are over-the-counter medicines. Daffy's elixir. We're going to see that, and I've got some different things to talk about with Daffy's elixir. A favorite remedy has been for colicky pains during the last 100 years. Many families are enriched by its preparation and sale. And what is it got in it? It's got 5 ounces of aniseed, 3 ounces of fennel seed, 4 ounces of parsley seed, 6 ounces of Spanish licorice, 5 ounces of senna, 1 ounce of rhubarb. So it's with senna and rhubarb, it's probably going to clean you right out. 3 ounces of elecampane, 7 ounces of jalap, 21 drachmas of saffron, 6 ounces of manna. I'm not sure exactly what they mean by that. 2 pounds of raisins, cochineal, just to turn it colors, and made with 2 gallons of brandy. And that's how to do that. So let me jump back out of Daffy's just for a second to give you a little bit more about Daffy's. So here we have, where's Daffy's elixir here? Daffy's elixir was a stock remedy for all infant ills. It is said to have been originated by Reverend Thomas Daffy, one-time rector of Redmile in the Vale of Belvoir. The good clergyman's daughter carried on its manufacture after her father's death, advertising, "The true elixir is sold at the Hand and Pen in Maiden Lane, Covent Garden, and at many coffee houses, and also at Mr. John Waters, perfumer, near the Maypole in the Strand." Now, here we have, what was that last ingredient in here? Let me go back one. The last ingredient was 2 gallons of brandy.
Yum.
It's made with, it's
Well, that's the carrier.
The carrier component is brandy. I'm surprised it doesn't have a bunch of opium in it or two. It's like, this will make your child feel much better.
And they'll at least be quiet for a little while.
Yeah. So,
this sounds like a great time to do our caveat.
the caveat. None of this is medical advice that you should take.
Perfect.
Most of these things will be dangerous, if not deadly, if taken by... Actually, I don't think anything here in this list was necessarily bad, other than, obviously, brandy's probably not the... There's plenty of medicines have an alcohol carrier, right?
Everything in moderation.
Yeah. And in 2 gallons, it was probably, 2 gallons, that made a whole bunch.
Oh, absolutely.
This was a large commercial venture here, recipe. So it's, it was going to fill up a little tiny vial. And we'll see an actual Daffy's bottle here. And the bottle that the medicines came in was very important. So let's jump into some of that. So here, that little middle bottle there is the true Daffy's elixir. There's a bottle there for Dalby, some particular medicine. I'm not positive, but I think that might be a British oil. Some of them, so the different bottle shapes would kind of give you a clue as to what the medicine was in it. Is that the one on the right-hand side? Is that Turleton's?
I think so. Yes.
Yeah, Turlington's Balsam of Life. And they made the bottles with these kind of, for the time period, expensive words in there. So what I've got here is a generic medical bottle. And some of them were a little bit larger. Sometimes they had the little mouth on them kind of came out flatter. You'll find them in lots of illustrations. But this is what you would get at the apothecary, and he would fill it with whatever medicine that your prescription is. But if you're buying one of these patent medicines, it's got a specialty bottle in hopes that you would buy the proper one that wasn't a counterfeit. So you're going to have an expensive bottle. And if you noticed in this Daffy's recipe, it had lots of different components. And some people are like, well, there was maybe only 1 or 2 components that were the main mover here, the main medical ingredient. And the rest of it is there just to give it a very, very complex and hard to counterfeit flavor. So that's part of what's going on with all these, it's like, why would I have this in it? Why would I have that in it? Well, we're going to put this in for color. We're going to put that in for flavor. And very similar to something like the recipe for Coca-Cola, right? So we want to make it hard to copy. So we're going to make it kind of complex, and it's not just, well, it's like grape juice. It's not like that. They want to make it very complex. And in fact, Coca-Cola, Dr. Pepper, all those things started out, Moxie, started as medicinal in their infancy, and then turned into whatever you would call them today. Still very medicinal. Very, very medicinal. Whenever I feel a cough coming on. I'm joking. Anyway, so there's a Dalby's bottle, a Daffy's elixir bottle, and a Turlington's bottle, I do believe. Daffy's Elixir Warehouse at Maidenhead behind Bow Church in Cheapside is sold for 2 shillings the bottle. That's expensive. That admirable cordial, which is well known to exceed all the medicines yet discovered in, what is it, chronicle diseases? As in, they're chronic. Vis-a-vis dropsy, pyric, stone, gravel, rheumatism, gout, scurvy, green sickness, colic, king's evil, consumption, agues, and many other diseases incident to men, women, and children, which you may see a lot. You may see at large in printed directions. I need not speak in praise of its safe and pleasant cordial, it being well known throughout England, where it has been of a great use for so many years, and faithfully prepared with the choicest ingredients. So what happens if all these people are relying on these English patent medicines, and the patent? Do we have a patent? The actual patent in here someplace?
No, there's a couple. There's like an advertisement that mentions specifically.
Okay, so there's the King's patent, which is sort of like the King's permission. You come up with this formula for this great medicine, and you get permission, sort of, the government gives you a, yes, he's the maker of XYZ, and he's the only person who's supposed to sell it. So that's where that whole, the patent is from, the king's patent on this medicine. It's, well, let's call it a trademark or something similar to that. That's where the whole patent medicine comes from. But during the Revolutionary War, of course, right at the beginning of the war, there's kind of a sealing off of trade with Great Britain. So you'll see advertisements early on in, say, 1775, and as the apothecaries and the sellers of these patent medicines saying, you better come and get what you need now because I can't get any more. And that sort of, the market kind of crashes for that thing, or you can't get it anymore. And then, of course, what happens when there's a vacuum in the market? People come in and fill that vacuum. And so there starts to be, of course, American producers of something similar. Who knows what they were, it's like, well, it's brown like the other stuff. And there were certainly sales of empty bottles. So not only do we see the apothecaries purchasing, I bought, so many gross of Daffy's elixir, but I also got so many bottles, empty bottles of Daffy's, empty Daffy's bottles, so you could make your own. So that's definitely happening. And the idea that you would buy empty bottles back from people and refill them. And so sometimes the manufacturer of the original would change their bottle design so that people would know. It's like, wait a minute.
That's 2 years ago bottle design.
Right. It comes in a blue bottle now. It's not green. This is an old one or it's a fake one. So they're adjusting their bottles. And if we look at that, say like the Turlingtons it's got this kind of weird, funky shape, and it's got letters embossed in the sides, not just the front and back, to make it more difficult. But if you look at all the different sort of archaeological and like antique store versions of them, it gets worse and worse. Like they copy the bottles from the bottles, and so they slowly morph into this blob that's slightly reminiscent of the bottle. Like over 100 years, the bottle changes and gets, everybody's making fake stuff. Pretty soon, after 20, 30 years, probably the original maker's gone, and they're all counterfeits. But people still just love their patent medicine. Now, who do we think this is?
Oh, this is it's saying that this is the originator of Daffy's.
Now, we got back here. Now, was that what it really meant?
Well, maybe it could also be the person who prepares it. I do think it says prepare, so it could be in the current day. This is the person who holds the recipe.
That the Daffy's elixir was done by Reverend Thomas Daffy. And I don't think that's Reverend Thomas Daffy.
Okay, so this is Eldridge, and it says that this is the true preparer of both Friar's Grant Original Specific Balsam of Health, Daffy's and Stoughton's elixirs, and fine purging sugar cakes for worms, bergamot, and fine cephatic herb snuff for the head and eyes. It doesn't have a date on it, or unless it does on the picture. So this person is apparently, he says he makes all of these things. And we're wondering, does he have the original recipes? Does he make his own? What's going on here?
And I do believe that we would find that there are sort of legal battles and battles with no, I have the true Daffy's elixir. No, he's selling the fake stuff, and I've got the, So we've got lots of that sort of thing going on. Now remember, this is the day and age when medicine isn't what it's like today. And it's likely that today we look at, sort of prepared medicines that would be like this, and patent medicines with a jaundice eye. But it's likely that their patent medicines were just as likely to be good for them as anything the doctor was going to give them. So, unless of course it was just straight up and up poison, which it might be, because who's judging, right? So today we take for granted the idea that the stuff that's in the bottle is what it says on the label, right? And if you sell something that has something different on the bottle than what's on the label, you could, in theory, get in trouble. But there really wasn't any policing at all.
I think I was looking through, and it was the topic was coming up because and someone mentioned that I think it was 1907 that they did the Clean Food and Drug Act.
Right.
That's kind of starts off this labeling, which they clearly do not have yet.
Right. It took them a long time, but a lot of things are interesting like that. So I was looking at glass bottles. Now, the idea of getting these bottles made, say, in the United States, I don't think really starts to happen. There are glass manufacturers in the 18th century, but they really don't come online for something as inexpensive and large quantity as something like these little medicine bottles until, say, the 1820s or 30s. But when they do come online, they come online with much greater quantity, and they really drive the bottle price down. So we see the patent medicine thing kind of exploding in the 19th century. In fact, most of the time when you research patent medicines, you're going to see 19th century information, but it's really the heart of it is happening in the late 17th century and the 18th century. And then it's only sort of the, crazy blow-off period of the 19th century when patent medicine's going to go crazy. But here we have an advertisement in these are New York advertisements, or no, this is it says Boston, 1756, and they have glasses for chemists. So glass work for chemists, glass work for apothecaries, medicine bottles, things like that showing up in your advertisements. So that is an advertisement. There's our Daffy. This is a section on Daffy's elixir. Let's see. It is somewhat strange that this medicine is also neglected in regular practice and yet made a great deal of, both as to profit and reputation by empirics, with some of whom it has been pretended a family secret, as the elixir salutis, i.e. Daffy's elixir, and some others, which are first stole from physic writers. So, I mean, here they're not even calling it out and saying this is bad, but sort of like, no, they stole this from real doctors, and they're they're mere empirics. In other words, people that are just guessing, just trial and error. Of course, not sure what else medicine is, but trial and error. But nonetheless, so that's a medical book talking about that. There are a lot of different ones. Now, notice this little symbol here, patented by the king. Right? And it's got a little boar's head. You'll see this little symbol showing up in a lot of different little pamphlets. It seems like basically if you wanted to sell one of these patent medicines, you go through a system. It's like, well, okay, you develop your medicine, this bad tasting thing, a few things to, perk it up a little bit, put some brandy in there and some sugar, and hey, it's your new patent medicine. The next thing you need is a good name for it. So you need to have some guy's name, basically. If you really want to sell it, you come up with an elixir or pills or whatever. And then you need to have you got to get your packaging right. So the bottle, maybe some imagery that goes with it. And then you have to have a sales pamphlet. And you'll see this over and over again. So you pick a Daffy's or a Turlington's, whatever, and they're going to have about a 20-page pamphlet. And the first third of it is, first little bit is the king gave me permission, and then these are secrets, and it's kind of made like this, but wink, wink, I've got some special ingredients in there. And then the last half, or even 2/3 of it, are people talking about, they're basically little endorsements. So it's like, I had, my leg fell off and I drank this and I regrew it in 3 days. So that's the typical thing that's going to go on. You're going to have those kind of concepts being played out with each one of these. Obviously, it seems like some of them, the same guys coming up. I was like, oh, I make a balsam of life and I make the elixir and then I make, it's like, they're the same stuff.
Well, they have slightly different vehicles. Exactly. This one's an ointment.
Yeah, it's totally different. Totally different. This one will regrow your leg in 2 days. Anyway, so here we got the patent mentioned, wholesale warehouse in London where you're going to get it. That the bottle they buy is not only sealed with the boar's head, but also these words around it, by the king's patent. And none other, which caution is absolutely necessary to prevent being imposed on by notorious and dangerous counterfeits. No counterfeiter would ever put that seal.
No.
No. He might get in trouble for that. So that is for Bateman's, Dr. Bateman's pectoral drops. I'm not even sure what they mean by pectoral, but maybe we don't want to know. So here's a little bit more of a drawing so we can see exactly what's going on, because it's hard to see in the clear glass all the things that were put on here. But Robert Turlington's, for his invented balsam of life, by the king's royal patent granted to, it's sort of like one of those circular things, London, January 26, 1754.
This is a very informative bottle.
Right. I mean, it's got it all there.
Right?
And they would impress all those letters on there, which you would think the one thing you would really want to be all run together is your name, and it's broken up on like 3 lines. But nonetheless, Robert and the T is up there and everything. This is hilarious. But yeah, this bottle in various forms, crude or uncrude, they were continuing to produce this for 100 years. In fact, somebody's probably still selling this
Probably.
So, I can't even, what is that? Richard Sidap.
Yeah, this one's a little hard to read, but the reason I brought it in was because in the visual that they've chosen, right? Yes. You can very much see the feeling of alchemy.
Yeah.
Still, like they're referencing the authority of alchemy while they're selling their products. They're like, no, it's great for you.
Yes, makes and sells all manner of chemical and something medicines. With all sorts of drugs, resale, wholesale, retail at reasonable rates. So somebody, that's a very complex trade card. Usually they're
This one is, the picture itself is extremely detailed, and then they have a lot of wording with a lot of fonts.
Yeah. It was kind of
I bet this one was
breaking
pricey.
the rules today, aren't they?
That's right.
Some of the typical, it's like regular medicine bottles of the day. Notice how the kind of lip flares out on the last tree. That's very kind of classic for the 18th century. You can really kind of tell medicine bottles from the time period why they formed them exactly like that. I don't know.
It doesn't seem like it'd be easy to drink from the bottle, which I'm sure you don't want to.
Right.
But also doesn't seem like it'd be great at pouring. I haven't actually tried pouring from it.
It's not good for anything except. I mean, it does create a lot of strength. When you have that disc at the very top, you can put in a cork and put it in hard. There's a lot of glass there that holds it together.
Well, and somebody was bringing up an interesting theory earlier. They were saying that they would be made with different shapes, and some people were thinking that had to do so you could tell them apart in the dark, or not great lighting, which would, like, if medicine bottles were all shaped the same way, you would at least know you got a medicine bottle. which would be helpful.
True, as well as the idea, at least for the Turlingtons and whatnot, not the ones that we were just looking at, but the idea that even if you couldn't read, you could recognize the bottle. So just like advertisements would say, you know, I'm at the sign of the, you know, the sheep and the breeches or whatever. Like they do that kind of stuff all the time. Even if you can't read, oh, well, it's a sign with the breeches and the sheep. You know,
Right, get that bottle that looks like that.
Get the bottle that goes like this and it's green. That's the one you want. Okay, I'm looking somewhere in here with my mini sheets of paper. It's the one I'm looking for. Yes. Every week we try to get to the brand new and renewing YouTube members as well as new Patreon folks. And this is what I have. I have Al Jones. I've got Jim, very creative, brand new name, never heard of it. Holly Waller, Badnuriak Dan, Susanna Vaughn, Karen, here's Saint something, I don't know, because the characters are not English, so I have no idea what that is. Brazen Spirituality, there's Nemesis, and it's got a little cup of coffee with steam coming off it. I didn't even know you could do that.
I didn't know you could do that either. Why don't more people do it?
You could just be like Prince with a kind of a squiggle, and it's like, can't sue me because you don't know how to pronounce my name. Sage, Diane Lisbeth, here's Art, Crafts, and Miniatures, and the brand new Patreon person is Two Ends Mom. So there we go.
Okay, you ready for some super
Sure,
chats?
let's do it.
Okay. So this one's from Phildo1124. Hey, I love the videos. They're nice and comfy and very informative. Thanks to everyone and all you do.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then this is Teddy the Fourth. I'm still laid off, so I can still catch the live stream. Can I get a huzzah?
Yay!
Huzzah! Look on the bright side, absolutely. And then here's a super chat from the Waits Experience. No comment, just sending in a super chat. Thank you. And let's see. And we did a couple polls. The first one was balsam of honey versus Daffy's elixir. People went with the balsam of honey, which we know honey is good for us, so it's a good choice. And then right now, Batesman's Drops is battling with Anderson's Pills, and Batesman's Drops is winning so far. He's pulling ahead. And there was a question here somebody was asking. So they were wondering whether for the background, like the medical background of the people who had them, if they were learning from herbal books, you know, or whether they had like word of mouth training.
Are we talking about doctors?
Yes, or the people who were coming up with these things. And it sounded to me like a lot of the people, at least the ones that I actually saw the background of, that biographies of the people who came up with them, they did have medical backgrounds typically. And so they were trained doctors, most of them.
Yeah. So Turlington, well, I mean, speaking of that, and I was just going to go on to Turlington. Turlington starts off as a weaver.
Okay.
Yeah.
That not.
Right. He was a weaver and a patent medicine vendor and entrepreneur. So there you go. With the bottle, so he's got the balsam of life. 1754. You know, how he starts off as a weaver and ends up like this, well, I don't know. But here is his sort of the medicine list. And I believe in the original patent, when he gets it, he has to tell them what's in it. So 27 ingredients in Turlington's patent. And their weights are listed below, starting with the major ones. So we've got gum arabic, and gum arabic is used in a lot of cooking in a time period, and you can kind of think of it as like, I guess the closest thing would be sort of like a gelatin-like stuff. I mean, when it's dry, it's like hard, but it does puff up and change into a gel that is odd. We used it for one episode.
Yes.
When we made those lemon drops, remember those?
They were really yummy.
They did weird things.
It was extremely strange.
Right. So gum arabic is sort of the main biggest ingredient, along with oleum, which is oil. And then the next one, which is still 8 pounds. So it's 8 pounds gum arabic, 8 pounds of oil of some sort. We don't know exactly what oil. And then 8 pounds of St. John's wort. So that's a lot. We also have gum elemi, which I think is another sort of tree gum. We have myrrh. So I've heard stuff recently about myrrh, 6 pounds of myrrh. Gum benzoin, something that I've only looked up a year or so ago.
I
think it's like a tree sappy
and,
stuff.
and I think that's the friar's balsam is that.
Right.
And you can still get it. You still use it.
Right.
But it seems like they're using it as like a bandage adhesive, like a natural herbal bandage adhesive, which like a pine sap.
Yeah.
At least that's what it made me think of.
Right.
Yeah.
Storax, I'm not sure what storax is. Balsam Peruvian. There's an herb called althea. Some other gum something. I mean, there's a lot of gum in here. It looks like cinnamon. There's another gum olaban. Here's cardamom. And something I have no idea what that is. And then another gum. Here's balsam tolu. Angelica is in here. Anise is in here. Gum juniper. I am not sure what the vehicle is. I mean, the only liquid seems to be the oil. So this must have been some pretty weird stuff.
All right, more of a ointment, do you think? With
I think it was a dark brown liquid, but that's only my. I mean, it came in a little bottle. It's got to pour out.
Okay,
It's got to pour out. So that's Turlington. Here's another thing. This was talking about a different kind of listing of Turlingtons. This one has saffron in it, which is good for you, and mace, which has to be good for you. This one just lists 8 pounds of oil, spelled O-Y-L-E.
See, this is one of the things you're like, when you're searching for stuff, sometimes you're having the hardest time finding it, and you find out later it's because they misspelled everything.
Right. And this one has 4 pounds of marshmallow. Not marshmallows. Marshmallow, it's plants. So distill and digest the same with a quantity sufficient of rectified spirits in a glass vehicle until it becomes a balsam. And so you apparently just, sort of liquefy that. Sounds very, very safe. Very good for you. Storax. Storax is a balsam that yields benzoic acid on distillation. Again, sounds like great stuff. And some of these, like the cardamom and actually one of them was frankincense that was in here. It just had a funny name. The gum olaban is frankincense. Some of these are probably here just for the funky flavor, just to give it a, make it hard to copy.
It's good for you if it tastes terrible, or at least complex.
Right, exactly. You do want to know you're taking medicine.
Yes. Right.
That must be good for him. Look, he almost didn't survive. Undoubtedly, through time, these recipes would adjust. Ingredients would come and go. And that's the other nice thing about a highly complex recipe like this. And that is, if you lose one of the ingredients, you can't tell the difference. You put in something that's close and everything else kind of smears together. And so nobody can really tell what's going on with it. That's one of the ways they can do any kind of, that happens a lot in modern day made wines. So you'll use a bunch of different ones, and you can, if you blend them all together, if one changes a little bit, you can kind of adjust the recipe and your wine stays the same year after year. They do it with a lot of other industrial products like clay products. I'm familiar with, in that you would make a clay out of a bunch of different kinds, and sometimes mines disappear and you would lose one, and you could always substitute one, and your product stays the same because you can adjust it. The Abstract or Treatise of Virtues, and this is like the pamphlet for Dr. Bateman's pectoral drops. Of course, it's got the boar's head, king's mark there. But here are some of the. There's a word I'm trying to search for in my head, and it's not coming to me. Where people are talking about their experiences with it.
Testimonials?
Yes, testimonials. There's another word I'm looking, but that's all right. Testimonials is great. I, Thomas Woodland, living at Swaney and Hockney, near Dunstable, do certify by these presents that I, having been afflicted with fever and ague, which has been so common at large, that I got the fever off, yet the dregs of it lay on me and could not be removed, which kept me continually ill, till I procured a bottle of Dr. Bateman's pectoral drops. Mm-hmm. Breaking of which I procured, breaking of which 3 nights, or taking of, by taking of which 3 nights, really hard to read, one after the other, my illness was wholly removed. I think this cure very extraordinary, by reason I felt the effects of it so suddenly.
It must be good because it acted really quick.
Right. I was like, it's like very, very difficult reading here. Here's George Moore at the King's Arms, trouble with gout. And he had been advised to take a few of Dr. Bateman's pectoral drops and found thereby the greatest and soonness ease of anything I ever took. A gentlewoman boarding at the Angel Inn lost the use of her limbs for a long time and was forced to be carried in a chair between 2 men every night and day to and from bed, was perfectly cured by these drops.
Cures per acid. Wow.
Maybe we should make some ourselves.
What could go wrong?
Because this sounds like good stuff. This certificate in goodness to all mankind, in justice to so excellent a medicine, which had in so short a time wrought so miraculous a cure. The desired might be made public to the world. And this is, these are written in 1720. So, why we still don't have it, I don't know. There's Mrs. Webb. She writes about it. Mrs. Gudgeon. Eleanor Lamprey. Mr. Wingfield. Looks like he had problems with rheumatism. There's some rheumatism there. So, I mean, this guy had a cold. There's shortness of breath. Because, I mean, apparently it really fixes a lot of things. including not being able to walk. Oh. So very, very typical. Did we have a couple more pictures?
Yes, sure.
Keezer's famous pills. I hadn't heard of Keezer before. The Above Pills by Hugh Gain. And then we have Bowen's patent sago powder. So, and at the same store, maybe had a general assortment of the best drugs and medicines, fresh laid in, together with some of the most approved patent medicines. So it's funny, you know, today we use patent medicine as a bad thing. They're it's like, no, this is patent medicine, darn it. It's good for you. Now, we certainly had in the time period folks that were selling medicines by traveling. And here we have a picture. This is European, but here he is on a horse in a very fancy kind of magical outfit. But notice the bag on his horse, and he's got a little bottle. He's got a bottle of some kind of patent medicine. Now, sometimes, here he is the show in and of himself. But there are other times when the seller of the patent medicine will bring his show along with him. Do we have a picture of that?
I'm not sure. There will be some more pictures. I don't know that we have one.
I got to hurry up. Look at all these pictures I got to get through. Okay. Anyway, so sometimes we have a show going along with there, kind of like the Mary Andrew and you might have somebody who pulls teeth, or he sells a quack who's doing different things. He might sell patent medicines or whatever. Very typical. If you can't afford a real doctor, and many people couldn't, this is as close as you're going to get to real medicine, near or far. Drugs and medicine imported from ships coming in from London. And he's got a fresh assortment of drugs and medicines, dyestuffs, spices, currants, raisins, English oatmeal. That's interesting. English oatmeal. Ivory syringes, cases of apothecary, scales, but also genuine patent medicines. We've got Turlingtons. We've got Bateman's drops. We've got Walker's Jesuit drops. We've got Godfrey's cordial, Hill's balsam of honey, British oil, which I believe was just basically petroleum, just oil that they sold as some kind of medicine. That's it. Like,
so sometimes you'll look at the list of ingredients and you're like, okay, I don't think that there's anything in here that I would view as necessarily bad for you.
Right.
And then other times you're like, no, I don't think I'd have.
I don't know. Maybe drinking crude oil isn't bad for you. I don't know. Anyway, it's something like that. Essence of peppermint, another one that shows up a lot. So sometimes we just basically have some kind of a very, very stout peppermint, probably in an alcohol. Sort of like it's peppermint schnapps, right? It's just like, they're just not saying it. It's the essence of peppermint. Yeah, I'll bet it is. James fever powders, Lockyer's pills, Anderson Scott pills, Hooper's female pills. You see, those were in a little oval wooden box or a little paper box, and they were little black, little shiny pills. Syphilitic snuff, or syphilitic, I don't know, something like that. Doctor's boxes for ships and families, so filled with medicines. And so there's there. They also have ground matter and all that kind of good stuff. Here are, now that's pretty cool bottles here. Now the one on the Friar's balsam is probably late 19th century. Heck, it could be early 20th century.
Right? Then the reason I brought this one in was because this is one of the ones you can still get.
Right.
And like they had it in the 18th century, they had it in the 19th century, they have it now.
Exactly. Right. Tincture of benzos. I don't know. Interesting. The paint had the design painted on the bottle. Dr. Hill's American. So here we go. We don't want to have just these nasty imported medicines. We've got our own special medicine sold in Philadelphia. and it tells us where, and it is 7 shillings and 6 pence a bottle, and is so well known that it's most effectual and infallible medicines for colds, coughs, asthmas, gives great relief in gravel, rheumatism, consumption, colic, jaundice, headaches, and whooping cough. Make sure to have, it's got printed directions in English and German. In old diseases of long standing, so old chronic diseases, it will be necessary to continue this healing for a reasonable time. So don't expect it to cure you right away. If it's something you've had for a long time, you
got to hang in it, keep buying it.
You just need to keep taking it. It might take months. 4 or 5 bottles in, and you're really going to start to probably feel it. Anyway, I tried other things without success, but only diseases are most often cured by the use of only a single bottle. Often a few doses will perform the cure, but no, again, not for those long-lasting diseases. Each bottle is sealed up with a representation of a certain plant in a heart. And if any under that name should be sold. Anyway, interesting. Dr. Johnson's yellow ointment. Now, we do see this a lot, just like in Daffy's. They get handed down. They're such a profitable thing. And once you've made the name, well, you're not going to get rid of it. You're just going to keep selling this stuff.
Maybe you might change, though, exactly what's in there, use cheaper ingredients.
So how are we using this? We dissolve the ointment by the heat of fire or a candle and dip a feather in it so as to make up a very small quantity at a time and draw it over the external parts of the eyelid, very light and thin. The first 3 or 4 times using it may occasion the disorder to appear worse, but afterwards, its operation will be satisfaction. In other cases, point to part afflicted at night, going to rest. Beware of counterfeits. Beware of those counterfeits. You don't want to use fake Dr. Johnson's yellow ointment. I wonder what was going on there. Anyway, look at it. So sold at the following places. We've got the Royal Exchange Gateway. We've got Mrs. Pearson opposite St. Dunstan's Church. We've got Mr. Fitch, the breechmaker and glover, and Mrs. Dyer at the toy shop. You can get this at the toy shop.
That surprised me. I don't know if I don't think it made it into the slides, but there was one where there was a circulating library and talked about the books they had and about the stationery they had and about the medicines they had. And to me, they didn't seem like the mix, but that's what they had.
It's like getting 5-hour energy drops at there. Well, I'm going to get them at the dollar store or whatever. Some medicines are going to come in these little medicine containers, right? And I used to make some of these for the store, but classic little, they would have different kinds of ointments or whatnot in them. Some of them were very crude because, again, it's mass produced. You just need something to hold it, and you're just going to throw it away. Although I'm sure many and many of these little jars ended up in the kitchen. I know I have many that I use. Here it Quack Doctor here. This is dated from the 18th century, but it's likely a copy of something that is 17th or even 16th century, especially by some of the clothing and whatnot. But here he is. He's at some kind of fair or whatever, and he's got a little table, and he's selling some kind of patent medicine type. I mean, it could be anything. His own patent. I patented this.
And right, you're like, there's that there's the patent medicines that have the names and there's a recipe for it and everything. Yeah. And then that there are counterfeits because that's what the advertisements are always talking about. Is somebody,
careful of the counterfeits. Just imported by Henry Land, druggist and apothecary, and we've got patent medicines, Anderson's pills, Hooper's pills, Bateman's drops, and Harlem oil. Sorry, I'm not sure. I don't know if that's an H or something like that. Kaiser's pills, well known all over Europe. Ryan's incomparable worm-destroying sugar plums. And you will see the sugar plum idea show up in a lot of different places. They're using them medicinally, getting rid of worms in children. I am not sure what the main efficacious compound within these sugar plums is, but that is one of the, hey kids, got some candy for you. What is it? 6 pence a box. Directions for use. Many thousands have been cured by these plums in this country and in Europe. They are known with efficacy in the cure of agues, whooping, or chin cough. Oh, I have a chin cough. I've heard of chin coughs. I'm not sure what a chin cough is. Here we have somebody at a fair selling their patent medicine type things, and you know it's part entertainment. It's part of it's part selling things. It's I'm not sure why you would put entertainment with something that you were selling as, you know, it's like I have a comedy show and I'm going to sell you medicine. You know, it's just like they don't seem to go together. There's even a monkey up there on top of that.
See,
stand.
I'm assuming you're drawing. It's like you got to draw the crowds in.
Yeah,
and a monkey, I'm sure,
guess.
would help with that.
It just doesn't seem like they would go together. Dr. James's powders for fevers and other inflammatory distempers. His Majesty's Royal Letters patent. If I could read more of it, I would. Many have experienced, in many thousands of cases, it will remove continuous acute fever in a few hours. And though it be attended with convulsions and lightheadedness and even worse symptoms. Wow. There's a druggist, this is in New York, 1787, and he's got lots of different medicines here, and at the same place maybe had a great variety of patent medicines. Practitioners and country storekeepers may depend on being well supplied at the above store, etc. And there are more drugs and medicines along with the Godfrey's cordial, James's fever powder, King's honey water, Friar's balsam, tincture of goldenrod.
You don't happen to know what hungry water is, do you?
I don't know. I did see the hungry water, and you know, who knows? We could probably look up hungry water for you. I don't know if not sure if. Let's see, pills, hungry water.
Looks like it might be alcohol-based kind of perfume with rosemary as a primary component.
Nope, I don't have it in this one. So I've got one of the.
And do you know where the term snake oil originates from?
Yeah, so snake oil. Hold on here. I just happen to have. Let's see if I can. Here we go. Page 269. I got to be kind of careful here. $269. Again with the lighting here. Here's the rectification of the oil of vipers. It shows up in this. This is the Complete English Dispensatory. So I think this one was printed in 1780s, but it's probably printed for 100 years. And this is not uncommon to find directions for making your own oil of vipers and how to do that. They probably sold it as a pre-prepared stuff. It was a medicine of the 18th century, probably the 17th century.
Are the instructions find a viper and squeeze him?
Well, you distill him. I mean, yeah, something like that. In so many words, yes. That's
Alrighty.
well, you distill him. You heat them up, you know, and then you distill the essence of viper out of him. Now, why you would think that would be good for you? I have no idea.
Still a little unclear on that. Okay, I think. Oh. So you want to show the bottle, the clear one?
This one?
Yes. So I wanted to tell the story about this particular bottle. So this one was from down in the basement.
Oh yeah.
The scary basement.
Right.
So we have a basement down here, and it's got 3 components to it. And there was like a little junk pile, and that bottle was in there because this building used to be a pharmacy.
Yeah.
And so I rescued it from down there.
Yeah, there was many an odd thing down in our basement.
So true. And somebody was talking about how much, just like how beautiful the bottles are and how fun it is. And, antique bottle collecting is a kind of a fun
It's a big thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And antique medicine bottles are really interesting. There's a lot of fun stuff there. I think we got there. Did you have anything else you needed to jump into?
Oh, yeah. Hold on. Okay. All right. So, Max Harcool sends in 5 Townsend gift memberships. Thank you. And then Raji has a super chat. Made it under the wire. It seems to me like Daffy's Elixir is chartreuse liquor. Great for keeping warm in these temperatures. Right?
Well, it did have red. It was red colored, right? And
wouldn't that look odd in the green bottle? I
don't know what to tell you. I mean, maybe with all the other colors, it would just turn out brown. I don't know, but it certainly had a certain quantity of the
cochineal in it.
Yeah, cochineal.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I think we're all set.
If you want more about the basement, you might have to go and see some of the old Townsend's videos with Josh in the basement or whatnot. We used to shoot videos down in the scary basement. Zombie video and such like has got actual basement footage. Make sure to stick around for a few seconds after we go away. We got a little surprise there for you. And I really want to thank Lauren and Ivy, for both of them, for doing some of the research today. I can only do so many things, and they prepared all the pictures for me. So it is always fun to dig a little deeper in any topic, and it is always a rabbit hole. You just keep on going, and we could probably spend an entire episode talking nothing but Daffy's Elixir or anything else. So there's a lot to unpack, and each one of those things has a different thing to learn about it. So this week's episode is 250th about a particular food from the time period, so make sure to check out this week's episode. And I want to thank everyone for being here in the Nutmeg Tavern today. It's warm and it's cozy, and we get to relax and chill and have fun talking about fun stuff, because we don't have to live with Daffy's Elixir every day. Thank you for all your amazing support for us in all that we do. You are there behind everything, making sure that we can make videos and have fun doing it. Thanks for watching, and have a great weekend.
Sir, come this way. Come this way. Ah, obviously a respectable gentleman, possibly a traveler. Yes. Well, be you on the trail, into camp, on the high seas, or possibly by your home fire, sir, you are in need of Townsend's Traveling Physician, in which is found only the most necessary materia medica, comprising of as few simples of the highest quality as can execute all medical intentions perfectly. The items being effective in treating bleeding, fluxes of all kinds, wounds whether green, fistulous, and oozing. What about purging mucus, expelling wind, constipations of all types, worms, gout, and jaundice, expelling stones, bitings of bad dogs, toothache, headache, stinking breath, old gleets, lifting low spirits, vertigo, and freckles too. Sir, if there is some condition or ailment that you have that isn't treatable with the items contained within this kit, it's best to reconcile yourself with your maker, as providence is not with you. Included within this kit, 6 powerful and exotic herbals. But all these would be useless without information, wouldn't they? So, included within the Pocket Physician, Townsend's Pocket Dispensatory. Yes, knowledge of the ancients, infused with more enlightened thinking, so that you may use these herbals properly. Yes, and all this fits within this tiny tin box. Great for the pocket, the purse, or portmanteau. You need this, sir, don't you?